is it's in a student curriculum. It's called the 8 Universal Laws. However, before we get into the 8 Universal Laws, there's a lot of stuff I want to cover prerequisite to that, so it'll make more sense when I talk about the 8 Universal Laws. Now, first thing I want to cover is there's a lot of laws in the universe. You cannot look at the universe as it exists today and not say that the universe is governed by law. Anything that happens according to law. Okay? From the lowest molecular inside the atom, all the way up to the mental realm, the emotional realm, and the spiritual realm. Okay? Therefore, there is no such thing as supernatural. I know that's going to confuse a lot of people because we're in a church of witchcraft. We talk about magic. Magic is not supernatural. It all happens according to the law. Now, if you understand the laws and you know how to apply the laws, then you can make change occur in accordance with your will. Okay? Now, first thing, I'm going to give you a list quickly, so I'm going to cover it. First thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to put them up here. Laws of the body. And you don't have to be a genius to do this, but if you. And then you have magnetic laws. These are all going to be covered in your classes later on. Magnetic laws, suggestion, and its governing laws. You have laws of the mind, laws of the soul, and you have the 8 universal laws, which we're going to be covering tonight. Okay. Now, like I said, nothing happens in this world, in this universe, unless it happens according to law. Okay? Let's just go with an example of the laws of the body. There's only 4. We'll go over them briefly. Okay? Number 1, sanitation. You got to keep the body clean. This is a natural law. If you don't keep the body clean, you get sick. Number 2, nutrition. You have to feed the body healthy foods for it to work. Okay? Number 3, movement. Every joint in the body has to be moved on a daily basis. If it don't, it gets atrophied and locks up. 4th one is rest and recuperation. Now, these are the 4 laws. You know, I'm not saying theories. I'm saying the 4 laws of the body. If each and every one of us would obey these 4 laws and not break them, you can't really break the law. You can transgress it. Well, once you transgress it, you're going to have consequences. If you will obey all 4 of these laws, you will have perfect health and never be sick. Now, you can't just do all 3 and leave one out because you're breaking the law. Therefore, you're going to be sick. Nutrition. How many in here eat a totally healthy diet and never put any junk food in your body? Okay. How many in here smoke and put toxins in your system? How many in here don't move it on a daily basis, every joint of the body? I'm not talking about exercise, I'm just talking about movement. How many in here, now the body's set up on a 24-hour cycle, just like everything else in the universe. If you miss a day's sleep, say you stay out partying all night, put stress on the body, or whatever you're doing, and you miss that 8 hours sleep that you're supposed to be getting, then the next night you sleep 16 hours. Well, once you miss that 24-hour cycle, you'll never get that 8 hours sleep or rest and recuperation back. Okay? So, these are just the 4 laws of the body. I'm just covering them briefly. We got another class later on down there where we'll go more in depth into it. But I wanted you to get to understand that if you understand all these laws, now we're going to cover all of them. I'm going to cover basically this one and this one here tonight. But these will be coming. Okay. All right. Now, for those who've had this class before, suggestion and discovery law. You need to understand that all magic begins in the mind. As a man thinketh, so is he. what the mind can conceive and believe it will achieve. These are old axioms that's been around for thousands of years. Everything in your mind is manifested in your current reality, because thoughts are things. Because we're co-creators with the gods and goddesses out there, we have the gift to be able to create our own reality. How do we do that? With our thoughts. Because the thoughts are waves of magic. Okay, let me do this. All right, here we go. You don't have to be a genius to do this class either, and you don't have to be a good artist. I'm going to run back that big figure there.
Okay, remember this thing. You're going to see it the rest of your life.
Yeah, the rest of your life you're going to see that.
That's the truth.
Okay.
It's Bob.
Ain't it cute?
Give it here.
I'm going to call him Bob. Oh, if you want to put a girl in there, you put a little dress on her, okay? Something like that. Okay? All right, now, for me to describe this, we're going to focus on the head here, okay? In between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, I'm going to put a little dotted line across here. They are separated, and they're separated by what this is called is the psychic barrier that separates your subconscious from your conscious mind. Anything that's subconscious is down below that psychic barrier, and everything that is conscious is above that psychic barrier. Now, from the time you were born and created in the womb, you have billions upon billions of brain cells that's inside your subconscious mind. Every known thing that exists in the universe since the dawn of time has been implanted in a brain cell and somewhere in your subconscious mind. All the knowledge of the universe is inside your subconscious mind. You're just not aware of it. Okay? Now, each one of these brain cells travels on a frequency of a wavelength. And it's at a normal wavelength from the day you're born, and it's down below the conscious level. You're not aware of it. It's at the subconscious level. Every billion of these brain cells has been recorded from your own experiences that you were born and from previous experiences of your ancestors. All that knowledge is inside the subconscious mind. And all the brain cells are vibrating, each and every one of them, at a certain frequency and a certain rate that's down below the subconscious level. Now, this is where the old axiom of as it is above, so shall it be below comes into play. But that works right the opposite as well. As it is below, so shall it be above. How many in here wake up using some kind of alarm clock? Okay, all right. What happens is these brain cells, let's just pick, I'm going to say one that represents the word horse. Okay, as soon as I say horse up there, this is suggestion in this governing laws. You're going to say horse. Each one of you has a picture in your head right now of horse. Okay, now, thoughts are causative. One thought leads into another. If you say horse, you say, okay, cowboy. Cowboy, John Wayne, big hat. You know, and it just keeps going on. From the time you wake up in the morning, when the alarm clock goes off, you have one long positive thought all day long. And the art of suggestion is through our 5 physical senses, we have billions of suggestions coming to us every day. And when they vibrate, okay, they're at the subconscious level. But through our 5 physical senses, either touch, smell, taste, sight, sound, we will get a suggestion that starts these, that's in harmony with one of these brain cells. As soon as I said horse, here's what happened. You have a horse vibration doing this in your subconscious mind. As soon as I said horse, there was a resonance. Resonance of a thought wave travels through the ethers around the earth 7 times in a second, which is faster than the speed of light. And the only thing that can stop that thought wave is another thought wave vibrated at the same rate and speed of vibration. So as soon as I said horse, it started your vibration of a horse doing this. And it started getting more violent the more you started concentrating in the subconscious level, and suddenly, boom. As soon as I said horse, it broke through that psychic barrier, and you were aware of that horse in your head. Everything comes out of the subconscious mind, and through the art of suggestion, everything is brought into your conscious level. If you have no thought in your mind, if nothing crosses that psychic barrier from the subconscious mind, you are said to be asleep or unconscious. As soon as a thought crosses that psychic barrier through suggestion, you're aware in your current reality of that thought. Okay? Now, as another demonstration, I already used horse. Okay? I can manipulate your minds knowing this law. I can bring images into your head through the art of suggestion. Okay? Go ahead and bring it to you. Okay. I want to say one word, then we're going to describe it. You probably don't want this thought in your head, but you won't stop from seeing it because I'm using suggestion. I'm giving you a suggestion. It's going to register. It's going to cross your consciousness and you'll get it. Dildo. And I'm not talking a regular one. I'm talking about these black Russians that are this long, about that big around, with the veins going up and down. They got a button on the bottom with a battery and makes that thing go. And you know, probably didn't want that thought in your head, but you could not deny I just put it in there through suggestion. It'll probably stick with you all night. And you leave late in bed and like it just actually go. Okay. But that's how suggestion and its governing law operates. Okay. Now that happens not just with that sound. That happens with touch. That happens with this. So the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to bed, you're creating one causal thought after another. Okay. So you really do not have any original thoughts unless you're concentrating and doing meditation and trying to create something. Okay. Now, we do a little erasing here, so you don't get too confused. Horse, no. Psychic barrier stays. Okay. All right. Here's the main thing you need to understand. Go back to the S here. No matter what gender you are, okay, what physical gender you are, your conscious mind is masculine. Your subconscious mind is feminine. And the way you treat your own reality is called the great right within. Now we come to the law of creation. Okay? The only way anything is created in this universe is through the law of creation. Okay? And the law of creation says, and it goes right in, I will correlate it when I get to the 8 universal laws. The male plants a seed inside the female, and after a period of incubation, the product for the baby comes directly from the female part. Okay? And that's at the molecular level. If I were going someplace else, I would say the conscious mind, if I were describing an atom, the conscious mind is the electron, and the subconscious mind is the proton. Or another way of describing it is this over here is this chooser. The only power that your conscious mind has is the ability to choose what it wants. You say, I want to drink a water, or I want to pick up my cup. That's a choice. Now, consciously, that's all the power you have. Your conscious mind, which is masculine, is a seed planter. It chooses what it wants. You say, I want to pick up that cup of coffee, or that empty cup right now. Now, if I would have had to consciously manipulate all the bones and muscles and ligaments to make this motion happen, my conscious mind can handle all that. The subconscious mind controls everything else. So once the seed from the conscious mind is planted into the subconscious mind manipulates people, places, things, and situations around us through these laws to make it happen. When you're working a spell, if you're doing a spell to make more money, you got to use suggestions. You put a dollar bill on your altar, you light a green candle, which represents money, and you get yourself into an altered state of consciousness where the psychic barrier gets softened. And that spell in the alpha state of being from a beta to an alpha state of brain waves, the suggestion of more money goes into the subconscious mind, where the subconscious mind is what brings about the manifestation into your physical reality. Okay? That's how you produce, that's how magic works. It all starts in the mind. And the mind is the most powerful thing to make manifestation happen in our lives. Now, here's the deal about learning magic. You have to be able to control your mind. Oh, shit, that means I got to do work. Yes, you got to learn how to stop the negative thoughts from happening in your head. You know, from the time we're born, at an early age, a child hears the word no probably 15 million to 20 million times. I know Emily did. Stop that, quit, no, quit that, stop, quit, no, quit, stop. They very rarely hear the word yes. Now when I learned that, you're programming everybody to be negative, with negative no, with restriction. So I would tell her when she was 4 years old, Amberly, I know that you can climb up on them counters up there and get to that top shelf and get to the cookies, but it's dangerous. I know you can do it. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying I'm not allowing it. Now that may be the bad guy, but I did not restrict her from her. I didn't give her any limitations. Now, according to those statistics, we are programmed in the culture in which we live, in our regular thought world that we think all day long, with all the suggestions coming to us. We are all programmed to be 77% negative in our daily thoughts. Now, I ask you this. The mind is like a computer. Garbage in, garbage out. If you were going to fly, which I know you said you won't. Now, if you like to fly, okay, what if I told you, okay, you're going to get on this plane, Sky, but the program, I'm telling you, though, all the programming in that airplane, all the computers and all that shit has been programmed to be 77% negative. Are you going to get on that plane? Because what that plane's going to do is go, ooh, crash and burn. We do the same thing with our own minds. The more negative thoughts you have, the more negative you're producing in your life, because that's the power of magic. It's in your mind and the choices that you make. So you have to reprogram the way you think, your thought process. That takes a while. It ain't going to happen overnight. How old are you? 38. You've had 38 years of negative programming. Over and over and over and over and over. The only way to reprogram that is through positive affirmations and positive thoughts. But they ain't going to happen overnight. You're going to go over and over and over and over to erase the negative thoughts and replace them with positive thoughts. That takes practice. That takes intent. That takes concentration. That's the work of becoming a magician. Any questions so far? All right, I'm going to erase.
That's part of why I said it's so important that we take the class on disciplines. Because the disciplines are the foundation of being able to control your mind. You have to be able to do that on a daily basis.
In 2014, we'll talk to you a little bit now about how you can do this yourself. But there's a thing out there called the master mind principle. It's taught in all the business. It's taught in religion. It's even spoke about in the Old Testament. It's the basis of how coven works. If you can do that process between your conscious and subconscious mind in spell work, and you can manipulate people, places, things, situations, and call in all these laws to start manifesting, how much more powerful is it if you get 6 to 7 people all doing the same thing in the same thought? Henry Ford used that to create the Ford, how to mass produce a car. He went to 50 millionaires and said, if you will work with me and use this technique and concentrate on what I need you to concentrate on, I will make you billionaires. So, this right here is how you create massive amount of energy. Now, one of the laws that we're going to talk about tonight is called vibration. You know what vibration is? I got a whole thing here, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. Everything in the universe is energy. What differentiates one form of energy from another is the speed at which it vibrates. This table is vibrating right now at the molecular level. And science has told us that anything that's solid is 99.9% space, only 1% solidity. What is happening in this table, okay, is electromagnetic field and the electron running around the protons inside that table. Look at the ceiling fan. When it spins, if it's on low, you can see each individual blade. But as the blades speed up and you turn it up on high, it looks like a solid blade. Okay? Well, if it goes faster than that, the electromagnetic field is leaving, you can't pierce that because it looks like one solid blade. That same thing happens. This table is vibrating so fast at the molecular level, nothing can pierce it. Light can't pierce it, my finger can't pierce it. Okay? So the faster something vibrates, the more dense it is, that nothing can pierce it. Now, what's the most solid thing that you know of in the universe that nothing can pierce?
Titanium.
Huh?
Titanium.
Diamond? Okay. A laser beam can pierce a diamond. Laser beam probably pierces titanium. It's third grade. Okay. What would be the fastest vibration known to exist in the universe?
Light?
Nope. It's light's a little over 186,000 miles per second. Light can't pierce the table. Sound only runs 740 miles an hour.
Radiation?
Huh?
Radiation.
An X-ray will pierce 1/4 inch of lead stops an X-ray. If you speed up to a gamma ray, it takes a half inch of lead to stop it. Okay. The fastest thing in the universe that can pierce everything known to exist is a thought wave. So the most solid thing in our universe is thought. It can go through anything. And that's why it's so powerful. Because like I said, it go around light goes around the earth something like 186,000 miles per second. It does that on the earth in half a second. Thought could go around the earth 7 times in a second. So the most powerful thing that can penetrate anything known to exist in the universe is thought. So it is the most solid thing that exists. That's how powerful our thought world is. Okay? For example, light vibrates at a very high frequency, and something like a rock vibrates at a very low frequency, or table. But a frequency nonetheless. Human beings also vibrate at different frequencies. Our thoughts and feelings can determine the frequency of which we vibrate, and our vibration goes out into the world and attracts to us energy moving in a similar frequency. This is one of the ways we create our own reality, which is why we can cause positive shifts in our lives by raising our own vibration. We all know someone we think of as a vibrant person. Vibrant literally means vibrating very rapidly. People who strike us as vibrant are vibrating at a high frequency, and they inspire us as we work to raise our own vibration. On the other hand, we all know people that are very negative or cynical. These people are vibrating on a lower frequency. They can also be an inspiration because they can show us where we don't want to be vibrating and why. To discover where you are in terms of vibrancy, consider where you fall on a scale between the most pessimistic person you know and the most vibrant. This is not in order to pass judgment, but rather it is important to know where you are as you begin working to raise your frequency so that you can notice and appreciate your progress. There are many ways to raise your vibration. From working with affirmations, positive things, write them on the wall, write them on your mirrors, that's the first thing you see in the morning, say them all day, it's like the mantras, you chant them all day long, to visualizing enlightened entities during a meditation. You can do that as well. One of the most practical ways to raise your vibration is to constantly choose where you focus your attention, Kimmy. To understand how powerful this is, now think about this, to understand how powerful this is, take 5 minutes to describe something you love unreservedly, a person, a movie, an experience. Take something that you generally love, either from your past or whatever, and think about it for 5 minutes. When your 5 minutes are up, you will noticeably feel more positive and even lighter. If you want to keep raising your vibration, you might want to commit to spending 5 minutes every day focusing on the good in your life. This is why we do the gratitude and devotional rituals. As you do this, you will train yourself to be more awake and alive. Over time, you will experience a permanent shift in your vibration. I have been told for the past 30 years, that Terry Riley guy has got an aura that stretches all the way up here. Okay, because I'm vibrant. Okay, I wasn't always that way. You wouldn't like me 35, 40 years ago. I was a pessimistic, lazy bum, didn't want to do nothing. I didn't like the way my life's going, so I started changing. I started doing the techniques. I started studying. I started practicing. Okay, and you can change your rate of vibration. Okay, now, and when we do circle together, that's even beneficial. The more you come to the church with like-minded people for a mastermind principle, this is what we do in circle out there, okay, then you feel lifted up. That's why people go, oh, I feel happy. I feel good after circle. Yeah, you're supposed to, because we're all doing this in the same intent, and we're agreeing. It says in the thing, wherever two touch and agree, there will be also. In the Old Testament, you remember the story of the Tower of Babel, when they wanted to build this tower to God, and then God come down and said, hey, he's telling whoever God's talking to at that time, his angels or whoever, he said, the people didn't want to build this tower to heaven. He said, the exact quote from King James, the people are of one mind and one accord. Now nothing that they imagine shall be withheld from them. That's the process of Magick. He's talking about the mastermind principle. When a group of people get together of one mind and one accord, and you're working magic in an altered state of consciousness, nothing that you imagine can be withheld of what you agree on. You can conjure a spirit to appear right in front of you, and if you agree on it, it'll happen. That's magic. Okay. Now we're going to get into the 8 universal laws. Magic, as it's defined, is making change occur in accordance with your will. A lot of the times people look into magic in the beginning as a supernatural power. The truth is magic is not supernatural. It is a natural process that follows and is governed by laws that exist in our universe. One only has to observe the world in which we live to realize that there is a system at work that keeps everything accountable. From the smallest molecular level to the highest manifestation of matter, everything is governed by law. There is no such thing as coincidence or accidents. Now, let's say you're driving in Bolivia and you're on, you're on a bus, for whatever reason, you might go to Bolivia, I don't know, or Peru, and you look down in this gully and you see a bus that has crashed down there. And you might know there were 60 people that died in that bus crash. You go, well, hell, that was a terrible accident. The only reason you're going to say that is because you don't know. If there's no such thing as coincidence or accidents, then those people were supposed to die in that bus. Maybe subconsciously they all got on that bus having a subconscious thought or a subconscious thing was below their consciousness that they didn't want to live any longer. We don't know that. Whatever you label as an accident or coincidence or as supernatural is something that you're observing that you can't apply the law to because you don't understand the laws involved. Once you understand the laws involved, it makes more sense. Okay. Chaos is merely order that we cannot see or understand the laws that are operating at that level. I know a lot of people out there, a lot of magicians want to practice chaos magic. You ever heard about that? That's when they just throw a bunch of young stuff together and don't take care of all that. And they want to create chaos. And what's the old adage? Out of chaos comes order. Well, chaos is order. You just don't understand the laws that's being applied at that lower level. Because you just want to label it supernatural or whatever. But if whatever we call chaos is still order, and it's still governed by law. We just don't understand how it's operating. The 8 universal laws have also been known as the Hermetic laws. These laws operate in the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual realms. All the laws that we're going to discuss tonight dovetail and correlate to the law above it and the law below it. And there are 7 laws, and they fall under, we start with the one great law. I'm going to use two definitions here. Here's the one great law that all the other 7 universal laws fall under. Spirit or energy is. There's nothing else in the universe except spirit or energy, and it just is. Okay? By what I mean by just is, that which is the foundation of truth, the substantial reality, is beyond true naming. But the wise ones call it spirit. The universe is mental, held in the mind of the spirit. And that's from a book called the Kabbalion, okay, where the Hermetic laws originated in Egypt. Okay. According to recent research in a field of quantum physics, all of what we know as matter, the solid cement of what appears to be what our reality is composed of, could be nothing more than quantum fluctuations in the middle of an empty universe. Now think about that for a moment. I know that was kind of, what the hell did you say? For all we know, what we call our reality, all you all sitting here listening to me talk right now, is nothing more than quantum fluctuations in energy in the middle of an empty universe. If this table's only 99.9% space, then every one of us in our physical being is only 99.9% space. There's only 1/100th of us that's solid. And that's the particles, electricity. We're made up, our bodies are made up of atoms, which protons, neurons, electrons. Okay? We are nothing more than a whirling mass of electrons, positive and negative particles of electricity. So all we are is an electrical manifestation. Everything in the universe is nothing more than an electrical manifestation at different levels of frequency. You know? And usually in our world here on Earth, most of it comes from the Earth. This table was originally dirt and stuff. This paper was originally a tree. Okay? We were originally dirt stuff. We go back to dirt. Okay? But now, since we have the ability to communicate through words and images, instead of going, hey, dirt, give me that piece of that dirt there, let me do something with the dirt, 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 dirt. No, we gotta distinguish between different parts of the earth. This is a cup that used to be dirt. You know, this is a tree that used to be, this used to be a tree, but now we're calling it paper, so we can distinguish. So everything is part of the earth. And the earth, according to Wicca, is our mother. And she was the first created long before everything else. Okay. The spirit is infinite living mind. So is energy. Okay. The illuminated call it spirit. All that exists is nothing more than the spirit or energy in manifestation. The all-knowing power that is and creating everything has been called by many names, by many cultures and many religions. Pagans just generally call it spirit or the all. Within all matter, atoms, there is the electron. And the electron of the atom in every atom is identical. You know what separates this from glass to plastic? The electrons that are running around in these atoms here are identical. But the proton makes this glass. Proton makes this plastic. But the electrons are all identical. So when I come up close to you, and I get that close, we're exchanging energy. Electrons. Goes back and forth. Okay, just like you're fighting, you know. Did you feel that? Did no. All that exists is spirit in different levels of manifestation in the physical universe. Spirit or energy just is. Okay. Now, y'all got that wrote down? Dude, I got some copies made of this. I'll pass out at the end of the class. Number 2. Yeah, and it's a long title, so I'm gonna say it, but I'm probably not gonna write it just right. I don't spell good. Perpetual transmutation of radiant energy. Now let's break that down before I start describing what it is. What does perpetual mean? Anybody?
Ongoing.
Never ending, constant, perpetual. Energy can never be created and it can never be destroyed. It always has been and it always will be. Its only attribute is change. You can't create energy. You're doing a spell to create something, you're not creating something. You're actually changing what already exists. Okay. Transmutation. What does that mean?
To modify it?
Close.
Transform.
Okay, well, yeah, that was my next question. What's the difference between transformation and transmutation? Think of transformers.
You're mutating it from its original form.
Who said that? Oh,
Yeah, Ellie.
no. Think of it this way. Think of transformers, okay? When they're a truck or a car, okay, and they transform into these robotic things, their essence stays the same. Transformation is changing the outer source. Transmutation is changing the essence from within. And once you transmutate, it can't go back. So once it's mutated, it stays that way. So now, this is important if you're doing perpetual transmutation. It's constantly going forward. It doesn't go back. Radiant, what does that mean?
I think you know, like blinding lights.
That's one definition, correct. But the other definition is, think of, let's say, okay, I'm a witch, and I'm gonna send lightning bolts out of my fingertips, okay? Then they're radiating from a source. So they're projecting outward from a source. That's radiant. Radiant and then energy. And we already said, energy is never been created, can't be destroyed, it's only attributes change. Everything, according to this law, is in a constant state of change. Nothing remains the same. It's either progressing or digressing. That means it's either growing or rotting, birthing or dying. There is no such thing as inertia. That's an illusion. Inertia is perfectly still. Okay, in the room you have ESOP, which means ice or still. That's an illusion. Everything's in a constant state of change, even at the molecular level. So there's no such thing as inertia. That's a word we describe in medieval growth and development. We live in an ocean of motion, even at the atomic level. Everything is in a constant state of changing. Nothing is really created or destroyed. It merely changes energy levels. Number one. I know you're recording, but I don't care. I'm on smoke. Demonstration. Here you go. Now I'm smoking this cigarette. This physical form is called a cigarette. It's paper, it's got tobacco in it, it's got filters, all this stuff. We call this and label this form of energy a cigarette. Cigarette, cigarro, whatever. Now when I set it on fire, okay, and I smoke it all the way down, and I dump the ashes in there, I got ashes, and I got smoke, and I change the level of energy, but I haven't destroyed it. The cigarette has not been destroyed. The image of what I call the cigarette, but the energy is now went into the ashes, went into the ether and everything, so the energy just changes. So if you're working magic to create something in your life, that's not what you're doing. That's an illusion. Nothing can be created. Nothing can be destroyed. So if you want to create something new in your life, all you're doing is taking whatever exists already and changing it. Through the law of magnetics, through the law of this, through the law of that. Now how you apply those laws is how that change comes about. Any questions? All right. That right there. See, I see her brain going, oh, these brain wheels are rusting and they're turning. Oh, number three. The law of vibration. We've already covered that, but I'm going to read it anyway. Everything is vibrating at certain rates of frequency. From the smallest bit of matter to the highest level of thought waves, everything is in a constant state of great vibration. Adepts who are able to apparently set aside the laws of nature, but who in reality are simply using one law against another, one principle against others, and thus perform what was commonly called as miracles or magic. They learned how to use vibration at will, which is a technique of mental transmutation. Not transformation. Hang on, you gotta turn it back. Okay. Now, vibration at will. How would you do that? First of all, let's go to another question. Y'all believe everybody in here's got willpower? Where's it at in your body? Oh, where's my will at? I know I got it here somewhere. Right? Wait, oh, there it is. No. What is a will? When you say, this is my will, so what's it be? What are you actually doing? Thought process. So what would willpower be? If we're doing an arm wrestle. Willpower, will. Whoever has the strongest will. Okay. Where is the will? In the mind. How strong is your will? How strong is your mind? How well can you control your thoughts? Can you hold a single solitary thought in your mind to the exclusion of any other thought for at least 33 seconds? My teacher asked me that 45 years ago. I said, oh, I do that. He goes, well, I gotta stop watching this guy. Think of something. Okay, tell me when another thought pops in there. I said, okay, 4 seconds. What? You know how hard it is to hold one? Let me try this. When you get home tonight, take a piece of paper and draw a dot on it. Like that. Sit down and concentrate on that dot. And don't let another thought enter your mind. Not the sounds in the room, not any other thought. All you're going to think of is that dot. You're not even listening to what I'm saying. I know you're trying, going, nope, don't want to distract you. That's very hard. You know why I say 33 seconds? That's the least amount of time. Remember my fat-headed friend over here? Conscious, subconscious. That's the least amount of time in concentrated thought that it takes to plant a seed from the conscious mind into the subconscious mind. You got to be able to hold a single solitary thought for 33 seconds. That's the least amount of time. You hold it for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, you got power going on. But you got to practice to do that. You know, it took me, Jerry Christopher, my student, I started with him in 1984, somewhere around there. It took him 3 years sitting down practicing where he could hold a thought for 33 seconds. Because he had to train his mind to the exclusion of everything else. Okay? Now, what you're doing, remember I said creation? The conscious mind is considered in Wicca, I said it's masculine. It's actually the God within us. And the subconscious mind is actually the goddess inside of all of us. And this is the great right when you do this magic I'm talking about. You're planting seeds from the conscious mind of your own desire into the womb of the goddess, which is your subconscious mind. Yes?
So then, what would the body represent? Would that be just the vessel that holds this?
Yeah, it's like okay, if I had a lamp here, okay, the plug in here would be the conscious mind. Extension cord that plugs into it would be the subconscious mind, and the lamp would be the body, the manifestation. Boop, it lights up. Then whatever goes there is what you get. Okay. Now, like I said, this is the art of creation. The God plants a seed inside the goddess, the womb of the goddess, and she brings about the manifestation. Okay. So if you're in an altered state of consciousness in a meditation, and you're working magic, and you're doing this, you're taking your desire, and you see it, you can smell it, you can taste it, you make it vivid and real, that image, and you get it into that subconscious mind, and that's all you're focusing on. You put all the emotions you got into it as you're working this spell. When you get done, you need a cigarette, something to drink, because you just did a mind fuck with your own self. You had sex with yourself mentally, and you're that creation. That's all it is, that's what magic is. Am I making sense to you now? All right. Okay. Yeah. Where am I at?
Number 4.
Number 4. All right. Law of rhythm. Oh, I got rhythm. Oh, I got magic. All things in the universe are set on a rhythmic beat or pattern. From the ebb and flow of the tides to the raising and setting of the sun, everything swings to and fro. Everything in the universe is under the law of rhythm. In the mental plane, this is also true. However, in the mental plane, there are 2 manifestations of consciousness, the lower and the higher. The swing of the pendulum occurs on the unconscious plane, and the conscious plane was not affected. When you raise the ego above the vibration of the unconscious, the conscious is not affected. This is called the law of law of neutralization. The swing of the pendulum, okay. Yep, I gotta erase some more. All right, y'all got this part? Remind me where I'm at in erasing this right here. Let's go with a pendulum. You got a thing here, and you got a pendulum, okay? Now later on, we're going to go into some more laws, but this pendulum swings to and fro. Everything in the universe swings on this pendulum. Over here, you have day, and over here, you have night. And you just keep going on and on and on and on. The pendulum swings all the way to night, and then swings all the way to day. Now, those are different points. There's dawn, there's sunset, different levels of night, different levels of day. Now, what they teach you, they try to teach you in Wicca and paganism. We don't teach it in Druidism because we know better. But when the pendulum is swinging straight down, that there's a line there that's called balance. That's a lie. There is no such thing as absolute balance. So where are you going to draw a line? Let's just look at the example. When you're standing out there and the sun starts coming over the horizon at sunrise in the morning, can you mark a distinct line where daylight starts and darkness stops? No, it just gradually moves one into the other. Same way with everything in this. You can do this with love and hate. In between there, you got irritability, anger, all these other stuff, all that stuff in between there. But you want to try to find, everybody's looking for balance. B-A-L-A-N-C-E, balance. Doesn't work. Perfect balance is imbalance. Too much love can be destructive. Too much hate can be destructive. So you want to swing this pendulum, not all the way to love, but you want to stop it right there. By the same token, you got to swing it all the way over here at the same exact spot to create that balance. Because the pendulum is constantly swinging. It never stops and hangs here. It never passes that line where you can distinguish the two. Magic is a gradual process. You can't tell when it begins and where it stops and this, that, and the other. It just moves right into the next. Like, dawn. You're standing there in the darkness. Next thing you know, you don't know when it happened, but you're standing in the daylight. Magic works the same way. It's a gradual process. Now, the point about this, if you work with magic and you're using the law of rhythm, yes, you want to swing this pendulum to get the balance, the imbalance. But most people concentrate on the pendulum. Don't do that. In this demonstration that I'm drawing out here, you are not the pendulum. You are that lamp. You're the expression of this. You are the pivot. This is you. You control the swing of that pendulum. So like if you got a pendulum in your hand, all you gotta do is squeeze your fingers and you can make it move, swing any way you want. That's you. You're not the pendulum. That's what you're manifesting in your life. You are the pivot. Yeah, like that. And you notice that don't really move a whole lot. The pendulum moves, okay? All right, any questions on that? Moving on. All right, going to, I love this one. The law of relativity. How many knows Einstein's theory of the law of relativity? It has nothing to do with this class, but just nice to know you know it. Law of relativity. This is transference of energy with all objects that have molecular structure. Like I was talking to you a while ago. When you come in close contact with something, you're transference of energy. This is the law of relativity. Since all electrons are identical, and they are in everything and in everywhere. It is the relationship with everything else. We're all connected to the electron. The law states that there is harmony, agreement, and correspondence between all planes of manifestation, whether the exchange is between the physical, mental, or spiritual plane. Now, let me give you an example of that. Let's go back to doing a spell for money. Okay? You want to get into that altered state of consciousness, get that psychic barrier solved so you get suggestion in there. You won't put your dollar bill down. You got Joe. Do it with a $100 bill. I usually don't have one. But yeah, something that represents money or wealth. Okay? Now, generally they teach you in Wicca and paganism, you need to have some kind of incantation, some kind of spell words. You're supposed to have a chant. I learned a long time ago, sound, if you're a druid, we work what is called song spell. Sound works well in relativity. You ever played with I think I got one over there somewhere.
It was on the water.
Let me check. No, it's not. You ever played with a tuning fork? If you hit that thing, and you walk around the room, certain things in the room will vibrate in harmony with it. Okay? That's the thing with all sound. Okay? So if you're working a spell to draw money to you, wouldn't it behoove a magical person to know what sound resonates with money? And it ain't the word money. That ain't it. That's an English word that that's not, that ain't it. The Hebrews, when they're working Kabbalah, and it's 5,000 years old, there's a sound that they utilize that connects with wealth, money, and it's called Anapaxiton. So if you're working a spell for money and you know that sound resonates with the physical aspect of wealth and money, that puts you in relativity of that to draw it to you through the other laws that I'm going to discuss here in just a minute. So if you're utilizing sound, that puts it in more relevance because you're in harmony and in correspondence with the things just like a tuning fork. And it helps draw it to you through the law of magnetics, which we'll cover in another class. Any questions on that? Now, write this one. Law of polarity. This law states that for every up, there is a down. For every front, there is a back. We live in a world of opposites, with positive and negative poles in everything. Polarity sets up attraction and repulsion, the natural law of magnetism. In the mental realm, a trained occultist or magician can change at will the emotional state of himself or herself, as well as those around them, using the art of polarization, producing the mental state by induction. If you want love in your life, it's safe. You're lonely, you ain't got a significant other. Now you cannot do a spell specifically for someone. That goes against free will. But you can do a spell to draw the right person to you. And you're using the law of polarity. Now, how many have ever heard the magical axiom, like attracts like? That's a lie. Like does not attract like, and I'll tell you why. I don't have them here, but I'll draw them out. If I had two bar magnets, you ever played with magnets on the table when you were a kid? Two bar magnets. Each magnet is going to have a positive end and a negative end. Positive end and negative end. You ever put some magnets together, as you draw them closer together, they go pop! Okay. And then if you turn one magnet around, it will chase the other magnet all over, you couldn't get in touch. When they're drawn together, what you're doing is you're putting a negative and a positive end together. And they're sucking and drawing one another. That means opposites attract. Likes, if you turn it around and you put a negative over here, now you got two likes. likes will repel. Now, remember this phrase. If you find yourself strongly attracted to another individual, for whatever reason, know fully well that that person has qualities inside them that you lack within yourself, and you're feeling yourself drawn to them to complete a whole. If you find somebody that you can't stand to be around, and you just, they say break the shit out of you, they're just like you and you're repelling one another. Most people are attracted in relationships to the opposite of what they are. You know, most times, if you would have met my wife, I'm a sanguine. I'm a dancing chicken. I'm a talker. You know, she was shy, bashful, quiet, didn't say much. You know, so she got pissed off. You know, so we were totally opposite. You know, I'm spontaneous. I like spontaneity. She wasn't. I would get up sometime and go, 10 o'clock at night, hey, let's run to the Waffle House, get a cup of coffee. She goes, okay, I gotta take a shower, I gotta wash my hair, and at the time an hour and a half drive, I'm out of the fucking mood now. You know? So we had to know, I understood, okay, she has a quality inside of her that irritates me, that I lack within myself. So I'm not really pissed at her, I'm only feeling the lack within myself. I should be a little bit more organized. I shouldn't be so goddamn scatterbrained and spontaneous. She, on the other hand, needs to loosen up a little bit, but it's a damn tight ass and go. We need to learn that from one another. So, when I taught her this class, it helped our marriage because we learned to compromise. I told her, I said, Magick, from now on, if I want to be spontaneous, I'll give you an hour's worth of notice. She went, okay. That worked. So she didn't have time to do all her stuff. Okay? But opposites attract. Everything in this world, remember that. Likes repel one another. If you're working magic, you want to work to the opposite. If you need love in your life, you need to create a polarity using this universal law to attract that person to you. Okay? You got to create the polarity of that energy out there when you're utilizing this law. Now, cause and effect. This states that for everything that happens, there must be an original cause. And every original cause, there has to be an effect. Okay? Another demonstration. Someone, everybody get this. If I hold this over this table, this little pin here, and I open my fingers, what's going to happen? So my fingers opening up is the original cause, and it falling on the table is the effect. Right? Okay, it's got to be in there. You just created another original cause, and I'm creating another original effect. It doesn't stop with just that. Once the cause creates an effect, that effect becomes another cause, and it becomes another effect, becomes another cause, and another effect, all the way down throughout eternity.
Rolling constant.
Rolling constant, yeah. So most people, when they look at cause and effect, okay, here's the cause, here's the effect, I'm done. No, that creates another cause. Now, when you're working magic, remember that. I want to work magic to make more money. I get a new job. Well, okay, you got a new job. You might have to deal with a bunch of asshole fucking people to work with that job. That creates another cause, which creates another effect, which creates another cause, another effect. On down the line.
Eric,
Yeah.
you have a question?
Yeah.
Is the butterfly effect a good example?
Yeah, that's a good example, yeah.
Cause and effect?
Yeah, I think the original saying of that was a butterfly in China can flap its wings to create an air current that can grow so large into a typhoon that will wash across the United States. Butterfly effect. Okay.
What about corn?
Huh?
What about corn?
Yes, I think that's one over here. This law applies to the promotion of karma. Right there. Yeah. I knew it was in here, man. I read it. I'm here now. Right there. Last line of the thing. This law applies to the promotion of karma. Right? For every original cause and effect. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. There is no such thing as chance. Understand, no one thing causes another thing. Cause and effect deals merely in events. The events, not the thing itself. A series of events following a series of cause and effects continuously. This law applies to the motion of carbon. Yes. All right. Law of gender. This is number 8, should be the final one, then I have a recap. Everything has the aspects of both masculine and feminine within it. In the spirit realm, there is an equal balance of these aspects. A lot of manifestation in the physical realm expresses a balance in the two aspects such as rocks, water, fire, air, etc. Yet at their molecular level, they still have the positive and negative elements at the molecular level. Notice that most things have a somewhat nervous system, tend to express outwardly either a male or female expression. We've got a little note with a semicolon there. Sex is merely a manifestation of gender on a certain plane of the physical realm. The word gender comes from the Latin, which one definition is to generate. Note again, it is also helpful to remember that humans have a dual mind, meaning a conscious and subconscious, which is masculine and feminine, respectively equated as male and female. God and God is within. Okay. What are you smiling about? You're great.
I'm helping her.
Oh, okay.
I'm not being
I'm gonna
sneaky
get,
yet.
I got 6 copies, so we may have to print out more, but I didn't print all 6 copies, so I didn't know how many of those mine to show up. Now, get this. A study and understanding of the 8 universal laws helps the magician or the witch to work with the cosmos and not fight the river by trying to make it flow backwards. These laws cannot be broken. They have stood since the beginning of time. They can, however, be transgressed, usually with some consequences if you transgress the law. You can't break it. I mean, you can run a stop sign out here and get away without getting a ticket because you didn't get caught by a cop. But if you try to break a universal law, you'll always get caught, and there's a consequence for it. You're transgressing the law. One must fully understand that in magic, when you make a decision, choice, a determination, you are calling into play all of the 8 universal laws to work vigorously to manifest that desire. That's on a positive thought or a negative thought. Now, got homework here, but I want to do something else. This class will hopefully give you a lot of insight into what magic is about, training of the mind and stuff. What I want you to get out of this class is you have been working this magic all of your life. If you've had a thought in your head at any time, maybe not tonight, but any time, then you're working magic. Every time you make a decision about anything, you're calling all this into play to manifest into your life. You've been a magician all your life, you just didn't realize it. You've had power to control your entire life, but because you've been programmed to think negatively, that old phrase, you're thinking is stinking, you're manifesting all this negative stuff in your life. When it's very simple, if you learn to control your thought world and control how you think and reprogram how you think, you'll have a lot more. I think it was in 2014, I barely had a circle set up out here. And this was a yard, nothing here. I told everybody,
It was 2013.
2013?
Yeah, because we had just built the dining hall for my wedding in 2014.
Okay, 2013. I had everybody out there for a new moon. I think I had something like 20 people in the circle. I said, now, that day I'd come out here and I had drove 4 stakes in the ground over here. And in the middle circle, I said, I want to work magic tonight. And I said, you see those 4 stakes in the yard over there? I said, I want to work magic tonight because I want to put a temple room over there. I said, I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know where we're gonna get the money. I don't know where we're gonna get the materials. But I do know that if we all agree to work magic for this tonight, in one mind, one accord, it will happen. So we did the circle. 2 weeks later, the little house we got over here now, it's the pantry. Little guy that lived in there was named Gino. He had just bought the property next door that was in between us. It was an old house that had been abandoned, and the city had condemned it. The house was built in 1910. Had a lot of cypress lumber in it. He calls me over there. This is 2 weeks after we did that ritual. Me and Gary walk over. He goes, "The city wants me to tear this down." He goes, "Now I either got to pay the city $10,000 to tear it down, or I got to tear it down myself." He goes, "And I'm not capable." He said, "Terry, would you like to tear down this building for all the contents in the building and the lumber?" And then his phone rang in the house. And he left. This was a huge house. And I'm sitting there going, and Gary looks at me and he goes, "Terry, I know what you're thinking." He goes, "And you know our congregation, they're not going to be out here every day tearing this building down." He goes, "And you're coming up on a back surgery, so you might want to think this before you answer him." And I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, you're probably right." And I seen Gino come back around, and I turned to Gary and I went, "Fuck no." I said, "I did magic out there. This is $8,000 worth of lumber, and all I got to do is tear a board off this house and throw it over the damn fence, and I can rebuild it over there. If I have to do it by my goddamn self, one board a fucking day for the next 5 fucking years, I'm taking this fucking deal." And that's how we got the temple. It took us 8 months to tear it down. Now a lot of the congregation come out on weekends and stuff like that. But that's how we got the foundations of this temple. We worked magic for it. That's how we get everything here. I don't know how we got the damn grant for $300,000. I mean, let's apply for it. Why? Because we're benefiting the community. We'll work magic. And then we get a letter. You have been approved for $300,000. I called Bella from up the Archpriestess. "You're not gonna believe this. We got a $300,000 grant." She goes, "Holy shit, Terry, you're gonna change Lake City. I'm gonna change the fucking world, Bella." And we bought the property, and now we're running. And now, not only do we have the food bank that we're getting loads from, the food bank just started a new deal, that we got 24 Dollar General stores donating food to us on a weekly fucking basis. We got more milk than we know what to do with. All our freezers in the house, all the freezers over there, everything's full. Y'all need any milk? Take 5 or 6 gallons before you leave tonight. God damn. We got plenty of fucking milk. I go in there and get it. So, but it happens. But you gotta have, and I've been doing it for 35 years. Am I perfect in my thought world? No. Well, I'm a lot better than I was 40 years ago. You know, I was shit 40 years ago. You know, and it took me a long time to get to the point, even running this church. We started the church in 1994. We had property out in the middle of nowhere. Wasn't in the church's name. This is the first time in 2011 when we moved here that I finally got some elders that understand this that I'm teaching you tonight. And the elders work magic for this church all the time. We do the devotional. Once we started doing that, 3 years ago? That's when things started popping in this church. Show your gratitude to the gods. Everybody likes a pat on the back. You know? Show your gratitude. Well, I don't care what's going on in your life. You got to find something that you can be thankful for. And tell the gods about it. So that sets up a polarity. That sets up all these 8 universal laws coming into play. You know? So if you get anything out of this tonight, it's up here. When you catch yourself thinking negatively about something or somebody pisses you off, now this is the way it works. You have to consciously make a decision. Nope, I'm not going to think like that no more. I don't want that thought in there. Now you may have to repeat that statement 1 billion times before it finally sinks in, but you'll eventually get to that point where you won't have that thought no more, and it changes you. And once you change, you have changed the transmutation. You haven't changed the outer source of who you are. You haven't transformed. You've changed your essence. The very thing inside you that is the spirit. You are not your body. You are not your name. You are not your personality. These are all functions that you've had. From the time, answer this question. What classifies us as human beings? According to science and religion, three things. You have to have a body, you have to have a mind, and you have to have, or at least access to a soul. At the moment, now remember this, at the moment the sperm first hit the egg in your mother's womb, at that exact second, were you there? Did you have a body? You know, you had this Bovex globular of a thing, didn't really have a body. Did you have a mind? Now remember, mind is a word we use to describe functioning of brain cells. You can't take your mind out and look at it, play with it. Take your brain out. But the mind is this little bitty brain cells. When they start vibrating, that's what we call a mind. It's a function. At that second you were in the womb, you didn't have a body, you didn't have a brain, therefore you have a mind. Now, were you a soul, or did you have a soul? According to the old scripture, the breath of life was breathed into Adam's nostrils, and he became a living soul. So at that point, he was a dead soul. Did you have lungs? Did you have any of that stuff? No. You couldn't receive any kind of breath of life. So you weren't even a soul. But something was there that grew and evolved into you. The entire process of evolution from a one-celled animal floating in the water, or a one-celled animal floating in a placenta, takes place 9 months in the moment you went through the process of looking like a fish, a tadpole, a monkey, all the way through to the human. But it evolved and grew into you. You have to decide what that something was. What label do you want to put on that? Was it God? Was it Goddess? Was it Spirit? That's who you are. You're none of this stuff that you think you are now. You are spirit. You are gods and goddesses in the making. You just ain't made it there yet. That's who you are. And you have the power of the gods and goddesses out there. Because you have a creative mind. You can manifest whatever you want with your own thought world. You just got to train your mind. So if you get anything out of this class tonight, know that. There is nothing that can happen in your life that you cannot gain control over because you're a witch and you got magic, and I'm teaching you that tonight. You can do it. Okay. Any other questions? Because I need to sit down. My stitches are hurting. Go get my chair, then I'm going to sit down. That's the class. We're done.